Alright, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're talking about the top baits for the month of July. First bait for the month of July, we're going to start off, early morning. You got your top waters. Either, depending on what lake you're on, or pond, or river you're on, if you have a lot of grass, or you're fishing shallow, and a lot of stick stuff, you get you a frog right here. This is actually the Berkeley Swamp Lord frog, and this black purpley color, I don't know what this is called, but links to everything in the description below. Everything I'm talking about today is just going to be a link. To copy and paste that link and put it into Google, and you'll take you straight to Tackle Warehouse. But this is probably one of my favorite frogs. Another great frog to Spro, Bronzeye 65 frog is another great one. But just any walking frog, popping frogs, they work. You can still throw them, but walking frogs, you can cover more water, and popping frogs work more in the spawn. But these walking frogs right here, really great. Get you a bluegill color one. I just grabbed this frog because, well, it's the first one I saw, but real right now because the bluegill are spawning, and you want to give a bluegill type frog to mimic those bluegill. But if you're like on an open water, maybe like a highland reservoir, a lot of rocks around, get you a walking bait of some sort. My favorite is the Megabass Giant Dog X. Even though it's called giant, it's really not giant. Here's the comparison. Here's a full-size frog, and then here's that bait. Yeah, it's not that big. But if you get yourself, this is like a more finessey topwater walking bait. It still is pretty loud. Still pretty kind of loud, but it's a little bit more finessey than your other walking baits. But if the wind does pick up and there's a little bit of chop on the water, you can switch to your shower blow, and that fish will find it easier than they found this bait. But if it's like a cloudy, calm, no ripple on the water, or little to no ripple on the water, throw this bait because it's a little bit more finessey, and the bass will come up and munch. And the stock hardware on this thing is great. You don't need to change out any hooks at all on this bait. Category number 2. It's probably one of my favorite ways to catch them. You can fish deep, shallow with this bait. It's the jig. Now, not specifically this jig. It's just also the first jig I found. Specifically, my favorite jig is the Dirty Jigs Tour Level Pitching Jig in 1/2 ounce color, either in black and blue or the go-to color, depending on your water clarity. But the trailer I like to use is a Guggen rattling chunk, and if you can hear, I don't know if I can hear that, but there's a little rattle inside of this bait right here. They come in with them. It's just a little rattle, just like that. And they come inside of these baits, and I think you catch a little bit more fish just having that rattle in the back. Also, I like a June bug matched up with the black and blue. And another thing you can do is add a little bit of spigot to the end if you want to stick out or something, or everybody else is throwing a jig, so you want to make your jig look different. That's why I use a June bug trailer instead of a black and blue trailer. But for my natural color jigs, I'll match the hatch, or like a green pumpkin jig trailer in the back, or I'll throw a black and blue or a June bug trailer just to look different. And I'll also sometimes add spigot to it to make it look even more different and that the bass haven't seen yet. Bait number 3. I have I think 7 baits, so we're going to roll through these real quick, because who wants to watch a 25-minute video of just what do you want to learn quickly? Is a swim bait. A swim bait is another great bait just to cover water. You can fish it deep, you can fish it shallow. This is my favorite, the Bass Mafia Zaldandria swim bait, I'm pretty sure. 6-inch black shad, great hook, line through swim bait. You can change your hook out if you want to, but it's pretty dang good stock hardware. It's pretty good. But it's one of my favorite line through swim baits. It's pretty readless because it comes over sticks and stuff pretty relatively easily, and it skips stellar, and you can also cast it out deep, wind it real along the bottom, and you can call fish up from deep water because it has a really wide kick to it. This is one of my favorite swim baits just to throw around and catch some big old bass. Now, if you want to be a little bit more finessey and throw something a little bit more finesse, you can throw an underspin, just like this. Now again, this is the first underspin I grabbed. This is not the underspin that I always throw. My favorite underspin is the Dirty Jigs underspin, actually the mini underspin, because it's a 1/0 hook. Also, it's cheaper, that's why. but I like the 1/4 ounce size. But this is a Gookin underspin. They're okay, but the Dirty Jigs underspins are a lot better, and they're American made. But I like to put, just like the Mayor or some small swim bait. A back of an underspin doesn't really matter because the blade is what draws the fish in. But I throw this out deep. You can fish it shallow. You can fish in schools of fish. But that makes it different from a regular swim bait is it has a blade, and that makes it look different from the rest. And whenever you throw it in a school of shad, the school of shad will break up, and your underspin will be in the middle, and the bass will see the isolated bait, and they'll come and eat it rather than eating the real live shad. And then another favorite baits to throw out deep is a crankbait. Now, this is a Strike King 5XD, I believe. I don't know. I think it's a 5XD. But a crankbait is another good bait to throw. And bold colors work real well this time of year. But you can also throw like your natural colors. But like I wouldn't go anything more natural than Tennessee shad. Like I don't throw ghosty colors. I barely throw Tennessee shad. But usually I throw chartreuse shad with like a little bit of a yellow line right here and like a blue top and a white belly. That's as natural finessey as I'll go. But I'll usually do like these bright colors like this. I believe it's called citrus shad. I don't know. Maybe it's not. I don't know. But I'll put links to everything in the description below. But if you want to fish in the mid depth, like 10 feet or so, this is the crankbait for you. This is the Strike King 5XD. But if you want to go deep, you want to get the Strike King 6XD. Or if you want to get a little bit more finessey crankbait, even though it's not super finessey, the Rapala DT16 or DT20, depending on how deep you're fishing. But that's another good bait to throw. And if you want to fire up the school of fish and just slay them on a crankbait. Great crankbait bites can happen in the month of June. Another great bait to throw out deep is a ginormous worm. Now this worm has been through the stuff. I mean, it's ripped here, the tail's ripped there. This is the Zoom Big Ol' Monster Magnum. It's the 12-inch worm, super thick, and boys, dragging a big worm around brush piles on points in the summertime can result in catching some giant fish. Now, I kind of June bug is like a deal here in the summertime, but I don't know why, but I like plum in big worm colors. I don't know why, but I think it's a little bit brighter. Maybe they can see it better on the bottom. I don't know. I just have a lot of confidence in plum. I don't really have I've caught big fish on June bug too, but I think I catch more bigger fish on June bug and more fish in general using plum. Maybe because it's a little bit brighter, they can see it on the bottom. Because I'm not going to spoil the bait, but here's what June bug looks like. It's a little bit darker, and then here's what plum looks like. Yeah, plum's a little bit brighter. I don't know why, but I think the fish can see it better on the bottom. June bug worms work stellar this time of year as well, but I just like that plum color because I think it just stands out more on the bottom. Bait, and this is the last bait and one of my favorite baits to throw in the month of July, and that is a swing head jig, or a swinging jig head. Now this is one of my favorite baits. It's kind of like a crankbait, but you can throw it in pretty much anything. You can throw it over rocks, you can throw it in wood, you can throw it kind of in grass, not really, but you can throw it in grass, on grass line and stuff. But this is my favorite bait right there. The Dirty Jig swing head jig in 1/4 ounce with a 4/0 hook on the back catches them really good. What you do, you cast it out there, let it hit the bottom, and this thing will hunt along the bottom. And whenever it hits something, it'll come across, and this bait will flip out behind it, and it'll roll over it. Now, if you watch my top page for the month of June, I also said this in there, but I'm going to save this bait until probably August or September, because this is how bad this bait could catch him here. And especially, I like that X-Zone crawl and June bug on the back, because, well, June bug can catch giant fish this time of year, but I feel like on a swinging head jig head, it's more of the sound than the color of the bait as well, but it's a little bit darker, so that you won't catch as many fish as you will on a green pumpkin or a watermelon color, but you will catch a lot bigger fish on the June bug color. And the reason I don't throw plum, well, they don't make plum color in the X-Zone crawl. And another cool thing about the X-Zone crawl, these crawls back here, they float. So when it's just sitting there on the bottom, these crawls are going to be sticking up all the time. So it can kind of just sitting there on the bottom just like that. And that can draw the fish in as well as it just swimming on the bottom. And it also knocks a lot of people throw this bait. So it can pretty much like, because like everybody throws your crankbaits and stuff, but nobody throws this. It's kind of like a crankbait, but it's silenter and it's like more weedless, so you can throw it where people don't throw crankbaits. But it's just a great bait. I mean, one of my favorite baits to throw to catch fish. Just catch fish anywhere. You can throw it up shallow if it's like a riprap bank or something, but usually I stick to throwing it deep because, well, this bait can excel anywhere. Like rock is probably the best to throw it, but I like to throw it in sticks a long time because the lakes I fish don't have a ton of rock, but they have some rock. Rock is a really good bait to throw, the type of cover to throw this bait on. Wood's a really great bait to throw this type of bait on. But if you don't have, like, you're just throwing it on bare bottom, just bare bottom, add like a reel twitch or a handle twitch every now and then to make this bait flip, like just move in the bottom. It's kind of going like this, kind of moving side to side, maybe up and down a little bit. But whenever you like add that reel twitch or rod bump, it'll kind of like just kind of do something like that. And the fish that are following it, they'll see that and then they'll react and they'll grab it. And that's if you're fishing in like bare bottom, like mud or sand bottom. That's where this bait can excel. And the one time you can't throw this bait is when you have that nasty slop on the bottom of your lake. And that's the only time this bait, you can't throw it as bait. But anytime else, you can throw it in lakes, you can throw it on ponds, you can throw it in rivers, you can throw this bait anywhere. This is one of my favorite summertime baits right here. Well, that's a wrap on the top baits for the month of July. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and I'll leave a comment down below if any other baits that I might think that leave a comment down below of any other baits that I may need to include in next month's video, or any other baits that you may think that will really work for you in the month of July. Well, peace out, catch a big one, peace.